We believe, just like the Christian brothers, the second coming of Jesus. And through him actually, this is going to be a global kingdom of heaven on earth. But it will start from among Muslims. At a critical juncture, when the Antichrist appears, we call him Dajjal, then Christ will come himself. He will descend. This is our belief.
So that means that the human agency would be futile somewhat.
Not futile,
because
but they will be crowned by something, by help, and this will be another help. But first of all, in Arabia, these are the prophecies of the Prophet. An Islamic state will be established. And before that, an Islamic state will be established somewhere in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Because the prophecy says that the armies will come from some eastern country to establish the rule of Mahdi. يَخْرُجُ نَاسٌ مِنَ الْمَشْرِقِ يَرْتَوْنَ لِلْمَهْدِ يعني سُلْطَانَهُ. So this is going to be a human effort first of all, and then Allah will help. Mahdi will be the last Mujaddid, and Mujaddids have been coming.
I have another question which is of a general nature about the type of discourse that you have presented, which is not, of course, novel in Islamic theology. Since Muslims have been discussing that since the Tadween age in the 2nd, 3rd centuries of Hijrah, especially with the Ash'arite philosophy that you have presented so well today. But there have been other types of philosophy within Islam, such as the Mu'tazilite philosophy, or perhaps Sufi philosophy and theology, and so on and so forth. And this is a historical fact, which I'm not going to dwell on very much. But what I'm concerned about is the type of education that we have in South Asia nowadays, the type of Islamic education that has been commonly referred to as madrasa system. And the madrasa system is based primarily, perhaps, on the type of theological discourse that you have presented. But the madrasa system in South Asia, especially in the modern era, in the 20th century, 21st century, seems to be totally cut off from the concerns of contemporary Muslims. Although there's that balance in a normative way between the physical and the spiritual that you have talked about. But if we discuss the madrasa system in Pakistan, in India, in Bangladesh, in Kashmir, in Afghanistan, madrasa graduates do not seem to understand the modern world at all. They don't even seem to understand such basic Islamic issues as social justice, as an example.
Yes.
Since they have no knowledge of the major problems of capitalism and the capitalist civilization which has become global. And therefore the question is, if we believe that the normative discourse that you have presented is the correct discourse, but in actuality it is cut off from life, it is alienated from life, then the question is, how can we establish bridges between this discourse and the contemporary needs of the Muslim world?
Actually, this madrasa system was devised to produce legal experts of Islam and the magistrates and judges on the Muslim governments. It has some relation with hadith, but mainly it is fiqh. So actually we should say this is out of the context, it's gone away. Now we are producing only Maulvis who can lead prayers in the mosques, who can give you fatwa about very small things, that's all. Because when Islam or Muslims degenerated, Islam didn't remain a deen, it became a mazhab. Now if the Britishers were ruling over here, the law was the British law, civil code, penal code, and so forth. What was the job of the Muslim ulama? Leading prayers and teaching people how to say prayer and how to keep fast, and that's all. And this part of our society has become accustomed to this part of deen only, and that is mazhab and not Islam. And they are not very much concerned with Quran. So we have to bring about and establish an educational system based primarily on Quran.
So you're saying that the ulama in, let's say, Pakistani society are not concerned about the Quran?
I think that is not included in their courses. Very small part of Quran is included in their courses. They are more concerned with hadith and fiqh.
You know, I think that there is a larger question about the status of the ulama in contemporary Muslim societies, specifically in South Asia. And from what you're saying, that the ulama are facing a major crisis.
Actually,
in
what
terms of
happened,
their own Islamic
when the
ideas.
Britishers came to India, now because a civilization, a military power with a scientific background, so we were so much obsessed with it that the ulama, they decided to go to the corners. They thought we can't, have a confrontation with this civilization as this knowledge. So they content them to corners so that at least name of Allah, name of Muhammad and name of Islam can be preserved. And that is why, in India and Pakistan, Islam, at least as a religion, is very forceful. Not as a deen, not as a system, social system of life, and just social order, no.
So are we saying that the modern Muslim states that have come after colonialism have failed in retraining Muslim ulama in an Islamic way?
Yes, definitely, I agree. Because actually, after the end of colonialism, so to say, it has not ended up till now, but so to say, the end of colonialism, the people who came to helm of affairs, at the helm of affairs, rulers, they were all trained by our colonial masters. They were brainwashed. They were they had accepted the Western civilization. And they are ruling. So actually, the colonial rulers are ruling till today by proxy.
But we have an example of Iran where the ulama are in power.
Yes.
If we look at the Muslim scene in the contemporary.
That's the only exception, and that was actually a political movement was hijacked by the ulama.
So the Shiites are better than us.
They have proved that they have more power and endurance and the spirit of sacrifice. And this tragedy of Karbala has persisted in their hearts. So this, to lay down, the virtue of laying down your life, it is within their bones.
What I do see here is a very altruistic underlying theme of the emancipation of the whole mankind as a part of the evolution or the development through the development of the individuals. And I'm trying to relate this to a pluralistic setting. And I'm wondering that how would we conceptualize or envisage such a process taking place? Would it be only through the acceptance of this, or would it be through a process of bringing the various thoughts together and somewhere emphasize and find a paradigm which really